Greetings, Guardians. This is the Insane One here, back once again with another Destiny 2, well, somewhat of a video, another Destiny 2 video. But in this video, as I mentioned when I was doing the closing cutscene for for episode 3, this video is just my thoughts on the entirety of this expansion plus its 3 episodes. So it's gonna pretty much, it's probably not gonna be that long since it's on its own. But anyway, let's just get to the first start. Starting off, I'm just going to say the Final Shape expansion was phenomenal. It was amazing. It was it moved itself to the top of one of the best expansions ever. It's like it's up there with Forsaken for me and everything like that, because Forsaken is up there. I mean, because Forsaken is like, as you guys, from people that's been around, Forsaken has been, I always put that as the best expansion for Destiny 2. If we're going off entirely, then I want to say it might go Forsaken then Taken King, or it might go Taken King and Forsaken. Most likely it might go Forsaken and Taken King, only because of how it was portrayed and everything, and what all had to be done. But yeah, for Final Shape was the best, and it had to be the best since it was literally the ending saga for the light versus dark. But it's just the way the story was executed, the way everything happened, how it ended, how it started was just all amazing. Like it didn't waste any time with showing us that the witness was getting down to business with his little final shape. It didn't hesitate to start to show what it was, and then on top of that, they even explained it. And I like how they brought back Cade and everything, and the way, and even though they did bring back Cade, I also like the fact that he wasn't really just brought back just for fan service and everything like that. He was actually part of the story. He wasn't like sidelined after being revealed. Like he literally, I'm gonna say, not first mission, second mission, he was literally in charge and everything. He was the one running the missions while we were searching for Crow, then searching for our Ikora, and then searching for Zavala. I like how they also implemented like Zavala and Ikora's reaction to meeting him again. Like, of course, like Ikora, she was angry, but she also did forgive him for it, and because she was happy to have him back, but she was also angry that fact that he even got himself killed in the first place. And then also like how Zavala's reaction, because throughout the entire time Zavala was so I want to say depressed in a way. I mean, of course, Ikora already said it, that he never came out of his office. He was always stuck in there after Cade's death. But like once we see him interact with Cade once again, he don't even say word. I mean, he does say words, but he couldn't even finish his sentence. He just straight went for the hug. It's not like he wasn't cold-hearted towards Cade. He wasn't pushing Cade away after all that. Like after meeting him again, it's just everybody was happy to see each other and everything. Like of course, then it was revealed that the only reason why Cade was back was because of Crow's wish during the final time, which I'm kind of confused. I thought they only got one. But I guess Riven granted that wish for him or something like that. But anyway, that doesn't really that whole ordeal doesn't take away anything. I'm also glad that they still don't know that the only reason why Cade was brought back was because of a wish. But yeah, I just enjoyed like the entire thing. I like how like I wouldn't say aggressive, but I like how intense, that's the word I'm looking for. I like how intense everything was getting. Like the closer we were getting to like putting down the witness, the more it was taking a toll on everybody and inside the Pale Heart, more so specifically Zavala. I did like how they introduced Tarj and everything, like his voice, even though they did kill him off and everything like that. But it still did have some justice. It's not like he was just killed off in the weakest way. He was killed off saving Zavala and everything like that, from Zavala being reckless, pretty much like how Cade was, because Cade was reckless, got his ghost killed, then himself. Zavala was reckless and just got his ghost killed and almost himself. Maybe, most likely himself. Most likely he almost died. But then again, that blast was Tarj dying is what blew him out of there in the first place. But then again, we also did pull him out as well. So, but anyway, but either way it goes, it's still, the point still stands. And then I also enjoyed the like how everybody was like the way everybody was interacting with each other. I mean, even though I think I kind of already said that, but and then of course I'm always gonna, I mean, I'm probably never gonna shut up about this. The very ending, the 12 player battle, like the starting cutscene with that, and then the fact how we all of us just drop in and we're going to war with the darkness. While we have Kaido, we have Mithrax, we have Savathun, we have Lucent Hive, all on our side, and everybody, and then when it gets to the Witness's actual final part, we got 12 guardians versus the Witness and his minions of darkness, and we're all just fighting. We're just fighting to unmake this motherfucker and everything like that. That's just so amazing. The whole story was just phenomenal. It was like literally, yes, this is what we've been needing for the longest time. It felt like I want to say all this build up led to this moment. Some parts, but yeah. I mean, like the cons that I would say with this with the actual story, not the story, but like the expansion in itself, came down to like some of its mechanics. Like, it was very annoying how every enemy, like, well, not every enemy, majority, like the new enemies, it was annoying how every time I killed them, they released those little things that look like the shit that Cedars from Gears of War shoot out at you, and they just charge at you, you explode, and of course they throw out a whole bunch of them, and then you're just getting, and then like the other, and then, you know, some like one of the annoying parts, that one mission where I think in the video where we were searching for Zavala, where I was fighting off the Fallen in that area, and then like after I killed like a certain group, they like a whole bunch of trip mines just spawned in. I was kind of annoying with that part. One thing I mean, it didn't happen. It didn't happen like on episode 1. I mean, because, you know, episode 1 started when the when Final Shape started. So I want to say like in episode 2 maybe they updated it, but of course not when I was playing the Final Shape. But with the Tormentors, when they grab you with their scythe, it doesn't do anything. Like during the Final Shape starting, it did damage you and kill you. But later on, it doesn't damage you no more. Hopefully they keep it that way, because, man, those Tormentors doing that is annoying. And the fact that they can take you out, the fact that you can still get grabbed like that while in your super is annoying as well. Because, like, I mean, certain point in times, fighting the Tormentors too many times, it kind of got repetitive a little bit, because it's like, okay, they do the same move over and over again. They throw their projectiles like it hit me through the wall. And then, like, okay, like they keep doing this jump attack that's going to suppress me. So even if I have my super, I'm out of my super. But when I throw a suppressor grenade, they can still do their attacks. So why is it that it can't be two ways? The thing I liked about the Lucent Hive is whenever the knight threw a suppressive grenade and suppressed me, if I threw a suppressor grenade right back, when any of the Lucent Hive had their super was taken away. That's the reason why I liked fighting the Lucent Hive. It was fair against both sides. Like, they could suppress me, I could suppress them. They could take me out my super, I could take them out their super. But the Tormentor, if he suppresses me, takes me on my super, I suppress him. He can still do all of his attacks. I mean, I get most of his powers from his scythe, but he shouldn't be able to. If I suppress him, he shouldn't be able to do his jump attack. He should just he shouldn't get enraged. If I just suppressed you, you shouldn't have power, dude. You're suppressed. But So it was very annoying, like with the tormentors. The subjugators was a pretty cool enemy. The only one that I hate is a strand one, because the strand one is just overpowered for no reason. And then I just hate the fact that he'll throw his strand that hangs me up, and then he'll like charge at me, just stomp. Why are you charging at me just to stomp, dude? And like, because the whole point of the stomp is you get upset that I got close to you, but you got close to me and you just stomped, and everything like that. Or sometimes I'll just be hung up for way too long, and everything like that. So, but and then I think that's like the only, like I said, majority of the cons just came from like most of the mechanics. And then I just hated how every time I fought one boss, I enter another room, and then there's another boss, like once again where we were not searching for Zavala, but after Tarj told us that Zavala went off, so we had to go save Zavala, quote unquote. And then like after I fought the tormentor in that one room, and then once I go down and I fight that fanatic enemy boss and everything like that, and then I gotta fight 2 subjugators. So at that point I'm like fighting multiple bosses, because there was 2 subjugators and then there was the boss. And then on top of that, the thing that I always hate about that fanatic enemy type is that they have aimbot, and his shots are two shots or a 2-shot, and like it's very overpowered. And then I'm like, bro, why do I have to fight another? Why do I have to fight a boss after fighting another? Why do I have to fight a boss after fighting another boss? On top of that, I gotta fight 2 mini bosses while in this boss room. That can summon a arc little AOE anywhere without even seeing me. Like, no matter where I am, I could be behind a wall, he'll never see me. All he has to do is summon an AOE arc circle, and then I gotta move, and then while there's a subjugator standing right there getting ready to stomp me or jab his power out of his glaive and everything. So but besides those parts, I still did very much enjoy Final Shape and its entire story. I loved how it ended. I also like how they also ended off Cade once more. His death wasn't exaggerated, and it wasn't goofy, and it wasn't goofed up. His death actually meant something this time, because he sacrificed himself to save to bring back our ghost and give us back the light and everything like that. So so pretty much Final Shape was a 10 out of 10. No doubt about it. Now, moving after praising Destiny from that story, I gotta bring them right back down to my actual feelings with them. Episode 1 sucked. It was very boring. And what like the way to go from a story like Final Shape to a story like Echoes, that's a major difference. I mean, a lot of y'all might disagree with me, but like at this point, that's just how I feel. Just listening to Saint 14 and Osiris constantly talk about nothing. It's kind of just dragged out the whole story to me, because I felt like that story could have just been more about Failsafe. Me and Failsafe could have just did that whole thing with a little bit of Ikora in there as well. To be honest, I felt like I didn't need Saint 14 or Osiris at all. I felt like they did nothing, to be honest, like at all. I don't think those two really did much. Saint 14 was just he was the reason. I wouldn't say he was the reason why we found the conductor, but he was the reason we knew of a conductor. But I feel like we would have found out about the conductor anyway. I've been seeing those anomaly figures around Nessus, and then every time I got close, they disappeared. So I would assume that we would have figured out about the conductor eventually, either way. But like we didn't really need Saint or Osiris, because they were just there to talk about nothing and everything. And then I also did not care for the story of Maya Sundaresh and Chioma Essie. I mean, like at that moment, I wasn't really paying attention to the point like I was, which had me confused. But later, during the time where I was editing both, not the both, but during the time where I was editing the videos for that story, I now understand how Maya Sundaresh is here. The real Maya Sundaresh is dead, so that's what I was, that's what I was confused about. Like, how was she here when they said she was dead in Lightfall? But now I understand. Yes, the real Maya Sundaresh is dead. The echo from the Traveler went into the copies that the Vex made, and then went inside that copy. So now that copy thinks it's the real Maya Sundaresh and everything like that. I mean, most of y'all probably already know because y'all was paying attention more than me during that time. But now I'm just explaining that I'm just telling y'all that I am now aware of how that story was going. I'm pretty much aware of how also how episode 3 went as well. But I mean, I kind of already knew episode 3. That was but somewhat. But yeah, episode 1 majorly, yes, I now know and understand that one. But I understand that Maya Sundaresh is just a copy from one of the Vex copies and everything like that. So that's why she was like talking down on Saint 14, calling him a copy, because she knows he's a copy, even though we all know that he's just from a different timeline and everything like that. Can you really say he's a copy if he's from a different timeline? Because a timeline just is from I want to say you just got pulled from somewhere where you already were, versus like actually being made by a machine. Because I want to say being made by a machine makes you more of a copy than being pulled from a timeline. I wouldn't really consider Saint a copy, more so just a Saint from a different timeline. Maya Sundaresh is a copy because you were made by a Vex mind in a simulation. So you are a copy of anything. I don't even know, and it's crazy how you don't even know that, and you have the power of an echo and everything like that. At this point, I'm starting to question some of these echoes. Like how are you out of the Traveler and you're just pure evil? Like you immediately go into something else and you're not even gonna try to granted, I can't really say that because there's Guardians that get the light and are immediately evil. So I can't really say much about like to put too much blame on Echo. It's more so the being's personality. So that being was always going to be like that, like whether they had power or not. But addressing the elephant in the room, besides the boring characters, majority of you already know the reason why I hate episode 1 so much, and that's because of the Force Exotic mission that they put us in 4 times that we didn't need to do 4 times. Once was enough, 2 was excessive, 3 was out of pocket, 4 pissed me off. Because especially the 4th one, when I did all of those finding anomalies that weren't marked just to get an emblem and everything like that. And because as far as like the dialogue within the exotic mission, those weren't anomalies. I could have did that at any point in time of I want to say like during the 2nd time, maybe even the 1st time, because that side room that I went into was always there and everything like that. I just didn't think to even go over there until I had to search for anomalies. So that dialogue wasn't the anomalies. The anomalies were something totally different. But to do all that and just get an emblem really it fueled my anger so much, because I had to go back. Because for most people they did it 4 times. I did it 4.5 because I had to go back in there for the 5th time to gather the last 2 anomalies that I couldn't find that happened to be in the beginning of the exotic mission because it was not marked and everything like that. So but with the story, from what they just explained, the real Chioma Essie is dead as well, because the copy of Maya Sundaresh found her and then put her in the fidelity test. She failed, and so she was killed. And then of course with the dialogues that I found in there, we also know that there are a group of Chiomas trying to survive to hide from Maya Sundaresh. I don't know if they're gonna ever show themselves again, or if they all got caught and is dead. I'm not so sure, but obviously since it's not the last of Maya Sundaresh, unfortunately, we might see all these Chiomas again, and they possibly, how much you would have bet, they're possibly going to be the reason why we were able to kill her, because they all helped us in defeating the copy of Maya Sundaresh. So what I did find kind of funny about episode echoes, like some of y'all might I want to say get upset a little bit, but when I think of it, I just find it funny that episode echoes was kind of like gay versus lesbian, like a gay couple versus a lesbian couple, because Osiris and Saint are gay, and Maya Sundaresh and Chioma Essie are lesbian, and it was this couple versus that couple, because that's like the whole reason, that's because Osiris is basically almost is like a good version of Maya Sundaresh, and Saint 14 is Saint 14 isn't evil, and neither is Chioma Essie, but I would say he's more of a, I would say, brute versus Chioma being gentle. So I would say Saint is more of the brute version of Chioma Essie's gentleness, because concerning the fact that Chioma Essie was the one that remembered the anniversary, while Maya didn't, and Chioma Essie wasn't upset about it, and so that she still set up everything and everything like that, like how when Saint 14 gave Osiris tea, and I think what was it? I think Osiris knocked it over, broke the glass, and I think they got into an argument about it. Yeah. So yeah, I would say Saint is more so the brute version of Chioma Essie's gentleness. But yeah, jokes aside, I did not care for this episode. That's definitely a 1 out of 10, because it was very boring, and then the forced exotic mission. Now episode 2, that one was different. I like the starting of this one. The starting of episode 2 really kicked off. Like it was I did like the method of how they did episode 2, where one act was done all in one go, as well as act 2 and act 3, because at first it wasn't sitting right with me, because because I said, did we really get our money's worth if we complete all this in one go? But then I was thinking about it. I said, well, technically yes, because it's the same as the expansion, because you pay all the money for an expansion, and you complete the whole expansion in one day. So it's the same as for the seasons or the episodes and everything like that. So I'm like that does seem better, and it also was helpful for me, for that way I can, because one of the reasons why I do hate forced exotic missions is because when it's out of nowhere, because see, when every story is weekly, I don't really have enough time to gather up my light level, because the reset happens every Tuesday. So meaning, and also which if the story is weekly, the next story happens on a Tuesday. So I don't really have enough time to gather up my light level unless like during the time where I'm doing the story. So for example, with episode 1, each time I'm leveling up my light level, it's during the time where I'm doing the seasonal story, or the weekly story, and everything like that. So when they drop an exotic mission and it says recommended light is this much, and I'm lower than that because I wasn't able to increase my light level, because the game has a terrible RNG where it will give me a higher light level gear for a gear that's already that same higher light level, instead of what needs to be given to increase my light level. So now I got to go into this exotic mission to get to at least try and then get my ass kicked, because I'm not the recommended light, but I still gotta complete this weekly. And so when they did it 3 times, it was pissing me off. So because I'm like, bro, I am not ready for this shit. Like, you're not giving me no gear to give up to increase my light level, and I can't do much. But with episode 2, Like since I was able to complete it all in one go, I was able to complete the story all right there in one day, and then I was able to do all the other. And each week I was able to keep increasing my light level. By the time Act 2 hit, I was still able to increase my light level. So once again, when they threw us back into a forced exotic mission, it wasn't all that bad because I was at a decent light level, close to the recommended one, where I was able to like not so much as run through all the enemies, but I wasn't dying as easily by enemies that can just run up to me and whack me in the mouth, and then I just die from right there. So that's the reason why episode 2 is, even though the forced exotic mission did irritate me after we just did one, like in episode 1, it wasn't all that bad because one, the exotic mission was very short. Like literally the exotic mission was just we fought bosses. Like each week, like the first one was the trickster. We scared her off because we didn't kill her in the beginning. We weakened her. She ran off, and then the second part we got a chance to know the mechanic of the mirror world, and then that's when we fought the mad bomber in that second part. And then bam, the third part we fought we did the mirror mechanic once again, but they switched it up on us and had us put in a timer because it said that it was taking a toll on us being in that mirror world, and we couldn't handle it. Our body couldn't handle it, apparently, even though we were able to handle darkness and prismatic and the light. But anyway, so we couldn't handle it. And we fought the mind bender, and then bam, we dealt with the mind bender, and then bam, we right there. We're going up to the throne room, and then that's when we killed the trickster once and for all. The trickster, and then bam, fanatic, all right there. And it wasn't really all that much. The other thing I appreciate, it wasn't all that much. Hold up. As I was saying, it wasn't all that much annoying parkour. The same way with how episode Echoes was, where it was annoying, like it was annoying parkour. Like literally in the beginning, it was just parkour right there, and then also on top of that, the navigation system wasn't working for the Encore exotic mission. What was that exotic mission called in episode 2? Other way goes, the exotic mission in episode 2 wasn't all that bad. I got lost a little bit, but eventually I picked up where I was supposed to go. The piano threw me off because I thought the piano was supposed to be the puzzle, but it wasn't really. The puzzles wasn't really all that convoluted. It wasn't all that difficult to figure out. Once like I picked up the pace, I just like, oh, okay, I just supposed to go this path, and then I'm supposed to jump into this mirror. I'm supposed to just activate these torches. The torches are the puzzles and everything like that. Leads to get to the boss fights and everything. But yeah, so that's episode Echoes. And then of course that's when we put an end to the fanatic, and then so once his story was, so the fanatic is completely done once and for all. He's eliminated. We don't have to worry about him. And then of course we managed to make Aramis fuck off. Like just listening to her. Hopefully we don't need to see her no more. Hopefully we don't see her no more. All that talk that she was doing, saying how she never had to think of us. Fine, bitch. I won't be thinking about you either. I don't care for you. Have fun. Like disappearing. I don't need you. I don't need to keep seeing you. I'm forced to see you and shit like that. You the one that ran. You the one that was running to us because you was running from the fanatic and everything, getting your ass kicked and shit like that, talking all that shit behind the cell, but wasn't getting into action, like literally. But anyway, hopefully we're done. Hopefully Aramis is done. Hopefully she's drowning in whatever thing she's like in. But yeah, so episode 2, Revenant. Even though I stated where I said depending on how many times they put us in the exotic mission is gonna drop no matter how good the story is. I'm pretty much gonna have to stand by that. So since they put us in the exotic mission 3 times, I wouldn't the forced exotic mission 3 times. I would say somewhat 4, but at least with the field work it wasn't really all that bad. I just almost went through the whole exotic mission because they didn't tell me. But you just had to do the little piano puzzle to get to the final boss. So so I won't really count that for the Act 3 field work being putting us in the exotic mission, at least forcing us into the exotic mission, since we didn't have to do the entire the entire exotic mission. We just had to complete the first part with the trickster, and then do the puzzle, and then bam, secret boss fight. So I would just consider that 3. So with episode 2, like although I did enjoy the story, it was interesting. Like I want, but like, you know, with my you already know how I feel about Aramis. Every time she just like irritates me, she just keep throwing them little jabs and shit. It'd be making me want to just rip her arms off and hit it and just break her neck with all 4 of her arms. As I like, what did I call her? Velociraptor with 4 arms and shit like that. So I mean, so I would, if I was going to put it at a 3, I mean not a 3, fuck, a 8 or maybe a 9. I probably would have put episode at Revenant at a 9. So if that's the case, then I'll drop. So that means it would be a 6 out of 10, only because of the Force exotic missions, dropping it down 3 points. Well, even though I said 4.5 when I said I'll drop, since they put me in an exotic mission like 4 times, and I had to do it like a half of it, and everything like that. So maybe I'll give it a 6.5. So just to be fair, I'll give it a 6 point. I'll give episode 2 Revenant a 6.5 because it was still good, but that Force exotic mission gotta drop you down for that. Wait, then again, if it was supposed to be 4.5, then oh wait, no, depending. Oh yeah, I said depending on how much it is, it get dropped. Depending how many times I'm thrown into an exotic mission, it'll be dropped down. It's this amount of time. So, but then again, you know what? I'll drop it down. I'll give it. You know what? Yeah, I'll stick with 6.5. So that way, so that way, you know, get it a little close. But anyway. But whatchamacallit, now moving on to episode 3, the episode that needs to be addressed because it was just it was poorly released. Episode 3 could have been the episode that was possibly a 10 out of 10, possibly. But its major flaw was the audio. It was very much the audio. No matter what what excuse, that audio was annoying. I mean, I understand why there was no. I understand why the 2 actresses for Sloane and Zevo Wrath were not there, but Bungie could have still done something about it. I'm not trying to sound like a little bit, because what was going on was, I don't know if it was the writer's strike or if it was the voice actors strike, but it was a strike going on during this episode for episode 3, and both the voice actress for Zevo Wrath and Sloane were participating in that strike. So the Bungie was accepting of them going in a strike. So I guess the way to honor them was to not mess with their thing. I don't know if to be honest, I really don't know if Bungie was supporting them in the strike, because I guess in a way, if you're supporting them, you're not finding a replacement for them. But either way it goes, if you're supporting them, then you're also, when you still at least try to get them paid or whatever, because you know, if they're not going to participate, if they're not recording audio for this story, then I would assume they're not getting paid for it because they didn't participate in it like how everybody else did. But anyway, either way it goes, I felt like they still could have found a temporary replacement for this. Now, I'm not trying to say like out of spite of those voice actresses for the characters, because you don't have to find a temporary voiceover as out of spite for them. They did the same thing with Cade. Nathan Fillion for Forsaken, because in Forsaken that wasn't Nathan Fillion that was in Forsaken. That was a temporary voice actor for Cade, because during Forsaken, Nathan Fillion wasn't able to attend wasn't able to participate in the Forsaken story because he was too busy filming other projects and everything like that. I think maybe for his TV show Rookie, I think that's what he was part of. But either way it goes, they didn't find it. They understood it, and they still had to release an expansion with audio that people paid for and everything like that. So that's the reason why they found a temporary voice replacement. And obviously it wasn't out of spite, because when Final Shape dropped, Nathan Fillion returned for his role. So that's how you know Bungie wasn't pissed off that he wasn't part of Forsaken. They just found a temporary voice replacement so that way they can send off the character. They could have did the same thing for episode 3. They could have found a temporary voice actor for Sloane and Zero Wrath. I don't even care if the voices didn't match. The same thing, they did the same thing with Anna Bray. Anna Bray. Her voice actress is different from the one in Warmind. It's very obvious that they're different, because I noticed the difference when Season of the Worthy dropped. I said, wait a minute, this isn't the same voice actress for Anna Bray. And that's when I found out that the voice actress was replaced. I don't know why. I didn't really look into it. I don't know if they did have beef with each other. I don't know if the voice actress just moved on from the game, and they had to find a different person to do it and everything like that. I mean, to still voice Anna Bray and everything. If I'm correct, they're finna get ready to find a voice replacement for Ikora, because I think that the actress for Ikora is about to step away from the game as well. So so don't quote me on that too much, but I heard somewhere that Ikora is about to get a new voice actor. So once again, if you find all these replacements, you could have found a temporary replacement for Sloane and Zivu or Wrath. Like I said, it didn't have to be out of spite. Once the strike is over and those characters return in a different story, those people who was originally voicing them could return back to their role, so that way the story can keep on going. Once again, we paid for episode 3. I understand that there's a strike going on, but you released a half-assed story. I can't read subtitles during a fight when there's a whole bunch of shooting going on, and there's a whole bunch, and then you got the people talking mid-fight. I can't look at the subtitles. I don't know what they're saying. I can't understand what they're saying because I can't hear them. So if they're giving me like mechanics to a puzzle mid-fight, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, and they're not going to repeat themselves because you didn't have them repeat themselves and shit like that. And like it was just, and then my other gripe with episode 3, because when episode 2 dropped, we all like it was already one go. All the acts were in one go. So when episode 3 dropped, I thought it was the same thing. So that's why I had it was like a 4-parter, a 5-parter for episode for part 1 of act 1 for episode 3 and everything like that, because I'm like confused. I said, what am I supposed to do and everything like that. I said, what does this even mean? I said, how am I supposed to do this? So I'm over here, I was doing the Tomb of Want multiple times trying to figure out what is going on. And then I found out after a while, once I stopped, I asked Delta, I said, are we back to weeklies? And he said, yeah, we are. I said, why didn't they mention that in the once we signed in? Because when we signed in to Destiny for the starting of episode 3, the first thing that they mentioned to us was how there is no audio for Sloane and Zivu Wrath, and so that the subtitles was automatically turned on for people that didn't have it turned on. So, but I'm like, during that time, you could have told us that the episodes are back to being weekly and everything like that. Maybe they did. I don't know if I didn't read it all the way through, because I was like only read like the first parts. But if I'm correct, they didn't mention that. So that's another thing that irritated me, because I said, bro, I didn't even know we went back to going to weekly and everything like that. So that's one thing that irritated me. But the major flaw was the audio, was the no recording for audio for Zivu Wrath and Sloane. because it's like it's so odd that I'm running around and I'm in like certain parts I'm seeing subtitles and I'm just hearing like the low tune of soundtrack music getting intense because somebody's over here, somebody who I can't hear is talking, and I don't know what their expressions are because I'm too busy over here not trying to do my best with being a voice actor for the audio because I'm too irritated from the damn nether, which is another thing that I hated, and everything like that. I did not care for the nether. I didn't like the mechanic of needing the healing wells to gain health because it was very I want to say the mechanic was very bad. It didn't properly heal. Sometimes it wouldn't heal. I'm like, bro, what's the point of picking up this healing well if it's not healing? And I think it was a glitch, but like that whole episode was like there shouldn't have been glitches like that on the third episode. The final episode of the expansion should not have had glitches like that. But yeah, it should not have had glitches like that because like I said, we're in episode 3. This whole stuff should have been like pretty much fixed and everything, like because this shit is odd how episode 1 and 2 went by smoothly with basically like no glitches and everything, but episode 3 was the glitchiest one out of all of them. It's like bro, did y'all even work on this episode and everything like that, like, or did you just like say fuck it, throw it, like let's just push this shit out since it's the last episode. It's let's call it a test episode secretly, but let's not tell nobody. But yeah, so like, but the reason why episode 3 could have been a 9 out of 10, maybe even a 10 out of 10, was because of the fact that we weren't thrown in a forced exotic mission and everything like that, and then of course it was diving deeper into the, I want to say all 3 siblings. We got more story of Oryx as for his last moments, even though it's an echo that went into his echo, and then thought that it was Oryx and it started imitating him. So like the echo from the Traveler went into the echo of Oryx and thinks that it is Oryx, and so that's the reason why it's doing all that shit. And so, but once again, when they did the big reveal for Oryx, not hearing Sloan made the reveal lackluster. If I'm even using that word correctly, or I would say it made it underwhelming. That's what I would say. It made it underwhelming because I'm over here hearing Oryx, and next thing you know, I'm seeing a subtitle with no audio. It's talking about saying, some, oh no, and then also on top of that, like some of the audio had Sloan saying some stupid shit. For example, when we're traveling through the Dreadnought, Sloan is talking to Oryx, talking about saying somehow how he was forgotten and how she barely even remembers his name. Like, you're gonna lie like that? You definitely know Oryx's name. You definitely remember Oryx because when he showed himself, when Echo revealed itself, you was terrified. You were like you were literally like, oh no, it can't be. And then you like, it's fucking Oryx. Somebody remembers his name if you shout on his name like that, and everything like that. And then when we did Ghosts of the Deep, somebody remembers his name if you seen a ghost, if you seen a wizard trying to do a ritual to put a ghost in Oryx's dead body. But back to the exotic mission thing, that's how I prefer Destiny to do their exotic missions. If they're going to add one to a seasonal story and everything like that, I prefer you to make the exotic mission optional in a way, because the exotic mission wasn't really forced. I was able to do it on my own time and everything like that, so I was able to build up my light level and then go into it and everything like that. So, and then I think I went because me and Delta tackled the exotic mission, and so that's what we did for that whole thing, and then we completed it. It wasn't. The exotic mission was pretty annoying. It definitely was annoying. And then the exotic weapon wasn't even all that. I don't really care for that Strand submachine gun. and everything. I mean, it's a bottomless clip. But you know, after shooting it for so long, it starts to turn into a semi. It goes from an automatic to a semi-automatic submachine gun. So it starts shooting one bullet over time, and then once you stop shooting, that's when the bullets recharges itself, unless you just reload. And then, but like, I'm like, bro, I don't really care for this weapon, if I'm being honest. And then once you do reload, the bullets, I guess, like 5 bullets is stronger than the rest of them. I'm like, bro, I said once I completed the catalyst, I didn't care. I immediately dismantled that weapon. I said, get the shit out of my hand. So, but that's how I prefer them to do exotic missions when they add them to seasonal stories and everything like that. Not forced, optional. I prefer all exotic missions to be optional, so that way I know what I'm getting. That way I'm knowing what I have to get ready for, versus it being forced into a seasonal. I mean, versus it being forced into a weekly story part. Because what started my hate for this was Season of the Seraph, when they forced us to go into the Operation Seraph's Shield exotic mission, and it glitched out, and because one of the enemies I killed didn't drop what I needed, didn't drop a mechanic that I needed to advance, and so I had to do the entire exotic mission all over again for it to start. And so that's the reason. That's what started my hate for forced exotic missions, because of that. Because a glitch can just happen where I can't continue from checkpoint. I gotta start the whole damn thing over. Versus like if it wasn't forced and it was optional, I wouldn't care if I had to start it over, because it was optional in the first place. So I'm like, I didn't really need all that. I didn't really need all that to advance in the next story. So, but that's how I would have preferred it. But like, and then of course, I mean, I was a little upset when they quote unquote killed off Eris Morn in the beginning. And actually, speaking of which, that just reminded me talking about that. That's another thing a gripe that I hate that I had with this episode. The audio was put in orbit when that's never been a thing. Like, and what I mean by in orbit, like how I'm sitting it over right now. Audio, when they had audio for that, because once again, since that's never been a thing, I'm flying to the next destination, bam, somebody talking to me, and I'm like, wait a minute. I said, wait, I didn't know I was supposed to sit there for 10 minutes doing nothing, waiting for you to speak, when I didn't know you was going to speak. So then as they're talking, I already flew to the next destination, and bam, the audio cut out. I said, bro, what? But I mean, luckily, since I have 2 other characters and I already knew about it, I sat there and waited, and then once those people spoke, I made a clip of the audio, and so then I recorded that. So then that's how I was able to edit those parts in for that. So but yeah, that's another reason why this season, or why this episode story is gonna have a bad rating from me, because of that specific thing. I said, bro, why are y'all cutting out audio for no reason? Y'all knew this dialogue is crucial to the story, but why would you put it in orbit? Why didn't you have it be put once we land? Like how all the stories have been. Why would you put it in orbit for no damn reason? But anyway, back to what I was going to say before I realized it. Even though I was a little bit upset with the fake out, with Eris Morn's fake out death, until I came to the realization that, oh right, I forgot, she's like a powerful, damn near a powerful hive god, even though she rejected the hive god title and everything like that. So she's not. But anyway, either way it goes, she has her own throne world and everything. So she was just brought back. She was just sent back to her throne world once, because when she was defeated, and then she wasn't killed in her throne world. So now she can leave it, and all of that. So, but even though they did have that fake out death, I mean, like, it was still pretty. I guess the story was half decent when they did that build up just to make a reveal that Eris Morn has a throne world, and then introduced us to her throne world, and then she trapped Oryx in there, at least it's Echo, and then went that, and then that got vanished away. The other thing I did like about the story, we got a chance to piss off Savathun after all that time, after all that antagonizing she's been doing to us. We antagonized her right back. She didn't like it, so I didn't, and I'm happy about that shit. So now Savathun, we're on Savathun's shit list because she's always been on ours. And so I can't wait for her to try something. That way I can kick her ass once again, the same way Saint 14 did to her, constantly. Killed her and told Maru to revive her so he can keep killing her again. That's exactly what we finna do. Kick that bitch's ass all the way back to her throne world, and then kick her ass in her throne world so that way we can destroy her throne world and then pick up her throne world and hit her upside the head with it. But yeah, pretty much most of these episodes was cleanup jobs, cleaning up the mess that other people made. And what I mean by that is, like, we dealt with Fikral. He's done for good. The mess that Aldrin made. Oryx, even though Oryx has always been dead, it was just his echo. It was just an echo trying to gain the personality of his echo, like through his echo. And trying to revive his name, but that's pretty much done. The mess that I guess you could somewhat say that we made when we killed Crota, but either way it goes, we already dealt with that. We already dealt with him in Destiny 1. So Oryx has always been dead. We just got rid of his echo, so he's completely, all Oryx's memories are done. We won't be hearing from Oryx anymore. We just got to deal with his sisters now. And then we need to run into Evil Wrath soon, so we need to see her in person. So most likely that might happen during this whole time with Edge of Fate, and then the Renegades expansions and everything like that. There's 2 expansions, so which is what, like I just said, Edge of Fate's the first one and Renegades the second one. Now, I don't know if it is true, but what I will applaud Bungie for, even though it took them a long time to do this. What I will applaud them for is that, like I said, if it is true, their seasonal stories are supposed to be free. So meaning we're only just paying for the expansions, but it's meaning, because if you look at the story, it just says we're paying for Edge of Fate and Renegade. So all the seasonal stories are supposed to be free, and which is a good thing, because once again, if we get something like how episode 3 happened, we can't be all that mad. I can't be all that mad because it's a free season. So I'm not really, I wouldn't so much be so much upset. Now, if episode 3 was free, if they started doing everything free during the whole episodes era saga, then I wouldn't be as pissed as I am about episode 3 now. But if it was free, I wouldn't care, because I didn't pay for it. I only just paid for Final Shape, and that's about it. But unfortunately, I paid for all 3. I paid for all 4, Final Shape and 3 episodes, and just for the final episode to turn out like this, that's why I will put it at a 3 out of 10 for the ratings, because it could have been good, but unfortunately it didn't really turn out all that good. So now we're going to be dealing with the Right of the Nine for Edge of Fate. But yeah, this whole thing had to be said, at least from me. At least my thoughts had to be shared, because I couldn't go into Edge of Fate not sharing my thoughts of how I felt about this entire expansion and its side stories and everything like that. Because Final Shape wasn't all that bad. It's a shame that a story as phenomenal as Final Shape got pretty much got, I wouldn't say tarnished, but and I wouldn't say so much as shadowed, but has these stories following up behind it and everything like that. Because it really felt like majority of the time that they ran out of ideas, because once Final Shape ended, it felt like all their ideas was used on Final Shape, and then when it came to the episodes, it's like they just ran out of like things to do, so they just threw us in there and just said that, and then like they just didn't even work on like temporary replacement audio for episode 3 and everything. So it just made everything feel like, bro, what the fuck is going on? So yeah, that was my thoughts on the entirety of Final Shape and its 3 episodes. If you Guardians did possibly agree with me or disagree with me with my thoughts on these stories for this expansion, go leave a like and comment below, sharing your thoughts and what you thought of all the Final Shape and its 3 episodes stories and mechanics and how it all played out for y'all and everything like that. And so do you disagree with me? Do you have different thoughts on the stories? Do you have different ratings on each story and everything like that, or do you pretty much keep it as the same as me, or do you just not give a shit and you're just like just want to listen or something like that? But yeah, yeah, leave a like and comment below sharing thoughts you did think of today's video. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Such as coming gameplay for the upcoming Destiny 2's Edge of Fate story, and possibly going to see if the actual seasonal stories are free. Of course, I'll let you Guardians know that when I start the Edge of Fate. This is to be honest, this is like I want to say this is possibly the first time. Well, this is the first time where I'm starting an expansion late, because and the only reason why I'm starting the expansion late, well, the only reason why I'm not starting the expansion late, I'm uploading all these videos in this expansion late, because I had to deal with all the stuff with my older laptop and everything like that, and I was running out of all that everything. So, but now I got a new laptop. It's going to be easier during the whole Edge of Fate era and stuff like that. So, but yeah, until then, eyes up, Guardians, because my voice is hurting.